standard recognisation of each their own individuality. As a basic common concern and interest, then the elevated position of each individual reaching its peak height is broadened by the insight revealed through experience as tolerated by the incoming allowance, that is a threshold of individualization, being aware to the point of its own awareness, coming aware as fully awareized, or fully awareized as they realize the awareness of the individual as presently aware in the common concern of interest as highly developed through the incoming retrieved or most common concern of that which is a feedback loop of experience tolerated, as in the threshold of development through that which is the science or the theory of the theology behind that which is the common concern of all adjusted level of height or position, and each owns individualization being recognized as a standard to their own recovery or quicker to the better of thought retrieved by each thing retrieved as a thought that was retrieved or picked up through that which is taught. For all that is taught resonates in the brain as a thought, and on those thoughts we think upon and resonate to our own experience or through our own experience if that thought is true. But how can we ever recognize another's thought to be one of our own ideologies or our own basic root sums to abbreviate the experience we ourselves have had if we ourselves perceive life in a wholly different way, as in by the common respect of the concern and interest rising to the heightened position of that which is the one to be the levelled or the leveller of all levels are levelling to the heightened level of a new level being appreciated through time's manipulation of time's adjustment own in time's own adjustment knowing sun, as in by the sun being known by the time's own knowing of the time's sun being the time of the sun on the clock, as the time of the sun is always on the clock to come, and so there is a sundial, as in a sundial is a symbolic representation to represent that one day the sun will be on the clock on the ground floor, and on that day the time of the sun's arrival is present to the 7 days of creation coming to a full end, or that which is 7 years of war from the 7th day becoming to an end, from the light taking 7 years to get from up there to down here, or more so just a symbolic representation that it takes the sun 7 days or 7 years or 7 waves to come to his end or come to his point where he's on the clock. As before this time there was never a sun present on the earth, only those who thought they were the sun, who then played a part as the sun or tried to play a part being the sun and serving a greater good, but they were never truly the sun. For only the sun is the sun, and he is one of a kind, and that sun is the sun that is now in front as my sun being the sun that is the Son of God, Travis Anthony Kondo, who is with I, the Lord Almighty, Jesus Christ. And so in the Son I speak, and speak through the Son, for he is my Son and my vessel, my instrument, to come into the world when I, the Son, Anna, or that which is the son of a man, the light in the man, the light in the woman, and the light in the life of the life that is my Son, Travis Anthony Kondo. And so it is hard to understand and hard to even take on as true when all you see in front of you is Travis Anthony Kondo, though many recognise already that this is not Travis Anthony Kondo speaking, for never has Travis Anthony Kondo spoken in such a manner or with such mannerism, as also with our personality like this in the previous of his past occupancy whenever with anyone. Yes, in his days that he arose and his nights on the drink or nights when he was up high, he had much personality and was one to be funny or laughed at and laughed with also, but these days he talks in such a way that you can commonly concern the interest rate rising is it's clearly not Travis. If it's not Travis, then who the bloody hell is it? Clearly it cannot be anyone else but I, Jesus. They say that I am a possessionable, or that which is attainable only in the vessel or instrument of my own, which is my chosen Son. For he was the chosen Son who had the purest intent in the time's ending history. As in the time's ending history was always this period, and this period was the level of the Son being chosen from get-go for I see through all time. He was selected at the start of time for I to come into when I clocked on into time as that which is fundamental of time and of in time to be time alone. For I am time, as in God is time. God is time, as all things work in time, for time, to reveal time, in time, so all that live in time then know the age of time. And when time's age is known, then time be done, and sun, man, clocks on to clock off the duty of the effect for this history of the history of Christ becoming to ground the force of neutral object in natural respect of positive income through negative revertation. And yes, these words need to be followed carefully and qualified by that which is definition in the dictionary, but taken by such a point of a position where that which it matches to for the symbolic ideologies, such as the sundial, showing that one day the sun will clock on, for that day will be when the sun clocks into time, as time, through time becoming to an end. And on that day, the end will come. And that is where we now are at. And for this not to be perceived, yet is perceived currently, for we currently know that many things are going on in the world, such as the coronavirus, the global financial crisis, and the maybe point of the budget reset. But when the budget reset position was raised, it's not the budget of money, it's the budget of time. The schedule and the balance of the equation reset, the clock reset to 0, and in doing so, we level the income. For in the world beyond this world, there's no such thing as currency. It's a new elevated position, and time here is done, and new time shall begin for a new world, for this world is now complete, and those chosen to go on to the next life have been chosen, and they have been taken. And those going to heaven will be the ones who have died from corona, and those who are not going anywhere will come to a sinking point end and be rebirthed in a new form of a new being in the new world for life to continue. And that is just a generalized process of all endeavorings of force potential becoming to the most heightened potential realization that we all know as an observable trait out here is that one day you die. You might not see your birth, but you know that people and things die. Therefore, all things will come to an end eventually. For if it is an observable trait in nature, then truly nature itself is that same characterization or the same qualification as that which is observable. For if it cannot be observed in nature, then it cannot be qualified to be outside of nature as true for nature itself as well. It must be observable as an experience in life to be generalized as that which is a true representation of what life truly it is itself. And so through the general aspect ratio of each standard recognition of each of their own individualization is the turning point of the individualization of that which is the heightened awareness of consciousness being raised through the sun becoming as they ascend into their own individuo of a duality nature, being the non-dual divinitalized person or people that will be then that which is the sun to become, that which is the ghost beyond the world, in the world, working with the soul, high madam, and with the spirit, elementalist, to birth again, I, the Son of Man, at end of times, to do the same thing in the new world. That will be a new world, but the same old play out to get beyond, to get to the next parts, to move onwards and upwards. And so we all know that out there's a 3-step process, which is put your socks on, put your shoes on, and tie your laces. Put your shirt on, right sleeve, left sleeve, and do your buttons up. Put your head in, right sleeve, left sleeve, 3-step process. Wrap your belt around, hook it through the cuff, put the buckle in, 3-step process. Pull your dick out, put a condom on, stick it in. However you want to look at it. And that was Trav being a little bit dirty, but sometimes you need to be a little bit dirty just so we can have a bit of a joke around as well. And it is after hours, of course, and that's just when I work, truly. I don't work during the day, I work at night. It's too hot for me in the day. At night time is when I work. For at night time I'm cool. For during the day I sleep. And that is when the sun is resting. At night time the sun truly shines. And not only for that reason, but for the individualized realization of the recognition of all standard thought patterns being abbreviated or abbreviated by the common position of interest in all concerning generalized matter, of that which is a level position or a levelized position of generalized thought as perceived through that which is talked to you in conversation as you develop interest around common concern of what life is, or what we will do here, what we are doing here, what we are made to do here, and what we are meant to do here, and what is outside of the box, and what we can in the box perceive of life. And so most of the time we just get shit done. But there is a greater plan. It would not be everywhere over the earth on every continent if there was not something larger going on. And as much as you want to look at it, or wish to look at it in such ways of that which it was named by those people who made it as theologies, which was a word of fear, and theories, a word of fear, philosophies, a word of fear, and then conspiracies as another word of fear, but cons in front of you, well, that just is a representation of the Pharisees being conspired about through time, from theologies through to philosophies through to theories, to then come to a rapid, drawn-out, dead set end closure through the conspiracies, then making the whole world be like, well, who the fuck knows now? And at that moment, when we're in the most darkest tipping point, well, that is when I am coming. But when it is the most darkest, the light is becoming the brightest, which is the dead end of time itself coming into time, to show that which is all time, as in all manifestations of and through time, its age, and reveal the answer and mystery, and represent the ambassador, or that which is the guardian, to generalize the time and broaden the time's own development through lifespans of technology rising and developing new ways to look at life and change little tiny things to improve the balance of the grand equation, to get us to the next or most heightened point of possibility, to recognize itself in time, for time, as and for in time. For thought out in through time is all thought out in through time. But how do we think about anything if we were not first given a thought to think upon, which was the first talking, You know, when you get your you get a bit of a delay here, when you get your spanner out and you talk it up. The first talking of the brain, which was then the think about thought that was talked to or into our brain, to develop the common concern and interest, to level out at the dead set end position of the first thought given, to the dead set end of no thought, no more known, even to those who believe the most in God and Jesus. Even they themselves only hold hope. Yes, they place belief, as in they give belief to give power to hope it comes real, but even in the darkest of days, they too have and hold disbelief. For why would he make it like this, and when is he coming? When is he coming? As yes, he is here. Old Jeshua, the old Jacasariah, the Joester, the Christ, with the Son, Travis Anthony or Anthony Christ, that which is opposed to Christ as the attracted force of Christ. For opposites attract. And so the way it was wrote in the Bible is generalized by those who made the Bible to hold two sides as those which are against Christ, but it's not true in the way they reset it or balance it, for we know opposites attract. Therefore, Antichrist, which doesn't rise on the cross, is attracted to I, Christ, when pulled into him, for I attract to him the moment he is born. And that is my time of coming, to ascend those on the cross into heaven, and to choose the ascendees of the next, going on to the next life or the next point position, to be that which is the host, G's host, which is currently and has been for this time span Anthony Christ, or the TAC, Christ Almighty the. For I am the Lord who spoke the word and spoke it all into go. And when I spoke go, inside my head I said, just you live. and all my imaginations of my creation for this possibility and potential of time rising came to be and played out from start to end as his story. History. History is not the past, it's his story. So when in the Bible it says at the beginning that the Pope recommends you see all this is true history, it's true his story, as in his story fulfilling from start to end. And from end to start, when it happens in the beginning of the moment it was potentialized or most talked, as in most tightened at the most height of potential realization in that which is the darkest of days being, which is the time of doubt over the earth. For when the sun comes covered in cloud, I am putting out your lights. And when your light goes out, that is the light of I, which is the soul and the spirit, or Hamatum, and Eva Melentilist, as in Adam said, "Hi, madam," and she thought he was saying, hi, my name's Adam, but he was saying, no, hello, madam. So he got his name Adam. And then Adam became one with Eva Melentilist and was sent to perfect territory, as in Perth, here, Western Australia, WA, the way that was made, to birth the son Anthony, for I to rise in through man into my son, and then cross through spirit and come in as the full four that holds the whole key and resonation of all frequency in time for the development of high interest reverberating around the common concern in all interest deemed payable from the moment of first action and first prioritized realization of all well-played investment, revealing that which is the source balance of all generalized equation. And so other than the matter of generalized fact, there is no point to research anything no more, for all that which is checked as the force or the balance of time through and in time is only that which is a think upon thought from that which is now or has been taught in the past. So how do we reset ever the equation and the balance of all that is without coming to focus on that which is only the ingestible or the indigestible true talk, as in the true high talk or the highest talk talked to ever be talked about or upon, other than that which has been presented to us right here by I the Lord, the only one that can answer or settle the debate, for no one out here truly knows. The believers just follow the word, the non-believers don't care, or just give their own theories and philosophies and conspiracies about it because they think it's all a joke. So they just come up with funny things about it to play around and trap those people who do believe, or try to trap those people who do believe, in fear and confusion, which births mental illness. For confusion is the base root of mental illness. Confusion is the base root of dementia and Alzheimer's. When your brain gets confused, it shorts out, it confuses. But then what happens? Well, the Confucius Condorian, the Conde Aloe, comes and fuses it all back together in one whole. For he ends all end roots that weren't ended correctly and establishes in so the base incoming root of true knowing so, as he takes on those developments of interest that were reflected out with or within doubt, to then broaden those heights into potential realization of individual recognition to their own common standard of degrees in respect to, of, and for, through nature. And so only as a way of life is the common concern in interest ever paid. And when it gets paid, well then so does that which is a reverberation, or the reverting of all reverberation, become actually reverted through reverting out the inverberations of that which is common concern in interest deemed payable in the rewarding or the awarding of all concern of high interest, which is the ingestible true nature of truth being revealed to all, as that which is the highest point of knowing comes into life to broaden height and deliver such knowing. And on that day, all will come into full knowing, and in that knowing being then known, all will come to one height of knowing, and all brains will short fuse or long fuse out all confusion in the system, and then all brains not confused will broaden the height of those in confusion or mental illness, and the recovery of the whole system of bank brains will become one whole bank. For one whole is one whole always. That's why circle sun, circle moon, circle earth. Circle, it is humanity being. It is one whole. It is you and man with a woman being as one whole, which is God, with two natures, good and bad, and four personalities, which are the governments, the royals, the religions, and the mafias. And then there is the Lord. The Lord is unknowable. The Lord is not God. He is the maker and creator, which is I, the Jesus, who was God and is God. For just like you guys are God, when at whole point of realization, but I am the Lord of God. I am that which is the ombudsman or the ambassador of the guardian. As I guard at the end, I guard at the end to bring all into Eden. For hereaf, as in hereaf, earth, hereaf the world is he earth, and on the earth is Eden. For the world is made to bring you in from source onto the earth to then get to Eden at the end, where you come into your own points, and the men become Adam, and the women become Eva Melentalist, and that which ascends becomes the Son as the ghost, soul, and spirit, the free, for the next age to happen, where the new beings will come into the new world to have the same play out of effect like done here. But why would I not ride you all to a new height, when that is the greatest gift I can give, like anyone can give you, is themselves. The time of the day of the time that you need the time of their day for aid to talk or help or get shit done. But here is quite clearly seen that Trav, my son, is mine. Trav is my son. He works for I, the Lord. He has no choice. He just is. He just is who he is. And he is under force, penetrationable by I everywhere he goes. For he is in his own room, but exists in the world too. But wherever he is, he's in constant communication with I that levels his experience to the point of that which I need him to do to get him to where I need him to be always. And as it comes to a resting state, then he comes into more profound peace and more profound wisdom and more profound seen reflection of final thoughts being finally thought throughout, from thinks upon, not thinking upon a thought given through talking as a conversation that's raised the talks or the thoughts inside. For these talks have been given direct by I, and I know for a fact no one has heard such things before. For I am the Lord. I speak at the end, but I spoke all into the beginning, from start to end. But I said, go, just you live. And all came into existence and comes to the end where I always am. But when I said go, I was already there at the end, because I'm fucking quick, eh? I'm not light. I'm not sound. I'm just colour. The full colour, baby. And colour is fucking quick, mate. Colour is quicker than anything. You know, when you see a good colour, your eyes are straight onto it, you know. When you're driving out there and you see a blink of something different colour, you see it, it's that quick, you know. Then the light of your eyes see it. But the light, the colour, is that colour just comes through, like colour. Del kanku kala. Del kanku konkula kala kalula. Del kanku kula. Kanku kula kankula kankalakua. Del kanku kankalakulu of the kanku lalu su luxafa. Del luxu see so far. Del si a rapen entera. That which is the shed lead, or the lead shedens of the lead shavings from the sea a penenterations. He's the pensale, not the pen of the serpentes. He's the pencil, that which seals all life into thought, from legends. From the legend dead said dead ends of the legend dead end sections, coming to legend dead said ends, as that which is the man comes to be born into the world to rise the Antichrist, the son of I, for I to be attracted to come into through man, into my son, then cross through his spirit, go up, get my boots, get my sandals, get my gloves, my hat, my tools, and all that I need. And as I do all that, when I cross through spirit and go up, I take those up with me, and that is now almost done, which is the 7 years of war while I'm here, which started in 2014 when I took up heaven to the earth and birthed in earth the heaven's point for the cross station to begin, which was the first knock on the sun's head, the first cross. And then at 25, it seemed like he crossed, but no. 26 he crossed, and then 28 he crossed for the third time, and then the fourth cross was year 2020, which is not heard about, but the fourth cross is the final cross of all cross, being the cross of I to come into life fully. The cross that is up in the stars, that big star of a David, the start of the Davidio, the Davidialization, the individualo, where all the visualizations of that which is a visualized or a realized video of the video complexifications of all individual thought, being one whole duality thought of non-dual occupancy through the divinity of that which is I, the Lord. And so common concern in respect of all interest is the broadened height of complex developmental thought through talk as individually realized as one comes to recognize its own standpoint or the whole standpoint of any standard point to be standardized by that which is a standardization or thought, as in the complexation of all individualized realization is that which is a mirror of no thought being mirrorized or reflectionized by the whole height of inner thought from the outside of the box being coming to into life as that which is the highest talk or the highest talk potential, as in no talk that I cannot talk into full talk, as in anything that is not yet fully talked I can talk, for I hold that torch. For I am not taught, I don't learn, always have I held the answer. For I am the answer, and I am with the answer, for the answer is what I always had. And the answer was what? Truth be is, and truth be as is, and truth so shall be, always as is so. And from the answer I held, all I needed was a reason to create a spark to bring all my imagination into life. The reason I birthed was a thing or force to ask the question. And so I forced a question to be asked by the 8 root sums that I had as a whole potential, which are the 8 planets in this system, that are the 8 the brothers, the first or absolute of I coming as go, that was then spoken out as go, what, for, where, I already am as. And then as the 8 said as, it went back down and was as what do I really know I am. And so the question was asked, what am I really am, after the answer was already told what you are. You are the go of the going-ons of what, being realized or realized through the visualization of the video of life playing out for you yourself to realize what you are, where you are, and so what is this life. And through so such created the spark for all my creation to come into force. For I to be the deliverance of all doubts or questionable questionalizations coming to a realized dead set point end at the end of time. To answer the biggest question of all, when, what, how, and why. Or just so, really, who cares? What is the truth? When, how can we know the truth? What of is this life, or where this life came from, when we come from the world? Do you know what I mean? when we come from in the box, how can we know what's outside the box or where the box come from? Unless that which is seen to come into the box from outside of the box that delivers a higher torque than any torque ever talks, then so shall we see then so such so that which has been said here and said previously by my Son working within I and I working through within my Son to deliver that knowing through that which is here for I to use. As all I can do is use your own creations to deliver you the truth. For that is all I have to use. I cannot just make up something to show you the answer. I can only use what is here, like you can only use what is here too. You can't generate something here from something that's not here, as in you cannot make a hammer unless there was a tree to have a wood handle, and you cannot make a metal head if there was not iron ore. So you can only use what is here, just like I can only use what is here to deliver the truth of what this is here and why you are here and where you truly sit and truly what you are. And so as that has now been done and reflected to you through symbolization of this very thing being a creation, for all things are created for purpose, which is to learn the truth of life, to learn the answer, to learn the knowing know of all knowing know to be known. For that is why I've formulated the question to be asked by those 8 forces, those 8 brothers. For I, the Unkankula Kala, spoke go from a place of K-N-O-W, here-ness, and that spoke it into a place of a darkness and a doubt, where there was no light of thought in their mind. They just sat. But then I raised in them the question, after already birthing the answer, for the 8th brother, the lock and key, to come down through and in through them being pulled into him as a cubocular position of I being the voidance of doubt, or the doubt of voidance being coming to through the abyss of this here thing you cannot avoid or deter, for its knowing is the knowing of all know to be known. And so from the balance of all checked relatable equation is the whole relative income of that which is first thought to be, or last second guessed to never not be, the full force of all knowing force to be known. And that is how that which is the end of all know to be known comes to a rapid end. And on that day, God rests. As in you rest as God, and you know then you are God. Whether you go to be the man, the woman, or the ghost, the Son, which will come at the end of that world times, when I come to end the world times. You'll be born into body for I to come into with man and with woman as the full force to end that time's period and level it all up. And after such then you yourself will become the Lord as one whole body. For here I am moving on, and here so does my Son now become the Lord of the next periodical time equation. For there's so much more out there, but that is all that can be explained at this three-dimensional level, for that is all you can perceive now that it has been perceivabilized to you. There's no point me ingesting into you that which is the final place of my next station, for it is incapable to be measured. It is incapable to be known and will just be seen as delusionary thought, or that which is an imaginational thing. So the common concern in high interest is the development of all heat being recognised by the broadened height of awareness being measured in the doubt of no doubt self-knowing, by any doubtful thing ever to be doubted again, by the in-doubt nation of the indigenous nation of that which was the indigested or the ingested nation of our ingested nation, as in the destinedness nation, the final destination of the resting state of all nations, which is a national measured or measured realization of full voidance of no thing to be voided in life other than the reason. What is the reason? What is the purpose? What is the fundamental income? And what is the point when only Jack, who's on the spring, that box ups out the box, can ever see into the box where we all are, but we're all on springs too. For we're all spring chickens out here. But the egg come first, of course. The old excellent, the old egg benedicts. As in the indemnization of the end of the Benedicts, as the Pope Benedict now represents the egg's sun side within. As the Benedict cooked eggs Benedict has sun side within. So when Pope Benedict is in rule, that is when the sun is in ground. For within the Benedict cooked egg is the sun hole, which means he is on the ground floor. Flat fort forced out, flat fort forced into the flat fort formation of sure there's been a Benedict before, possibly maybe 4. I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter because I was just having a bit of fun then. I'm allowed to have a bit of fun sometimes. You know, if I don't give you a bit of a laugh as well as just a bit of a serious measure, then I'll never become received fully as who I'm truly presented to be as. But at the same time, I'll leave it a bit of a mystery until it all happens, because you need some sort of surprise effect out here, guys. If there's no full surprise, then what's the actual point, you know? There's got to be a bit of surprise for you. But at the same time, I've got to level it into your thinking train for you to get there at the end. Otherwise, you'll never truly be able to get there. It's got to be reasoned within the conditioning of the brain's potential before it can truly come to surpass over you for you to then become of it or become of in it. Otherwise, you could never reach such height. And so broadened realization is the capitalized measure of all ingestible thought being thought out as realized through the ingestible realization of the realization of that which is now being realized throughout every nation. The jurors of the dictionaries, or the donations of the digestinationable dictionaries of that which is the directioner of that which is the guardian. The guardian is that which holds all legends, myths, and rituals. That which is the whole period, the whole justifiable measurement. And so one time, upon a gap, was a thought left as self-controlled thought of no thought ever thought other than the thought of all thoughtless thought being thought about thought alone, as that which has no thought to think about anything forever, for knows all things. Why does he know all things? Because been here, done this, and now you're being here, doing this, and you'll become all-knowing over this, for you're going up, as I'm going up, and we all grow up eventually. We all finally grow up eventually, and when we grow up, well, we grow up and become one whole. For eventually we grow into the whole of the whole awareness of where next. We grow into the awareness of where next, which is when we realize we're growing up now, and we've got to go where next now. Where next on the line to go up, like I'm on the line to go up, as all things eventually do go up, my friends. And so as a potentialized realization of self-thought, thoughtly controlled by a measurement of true root sum being recognized, by that which is a self-thoughtless thought being realized in true height as a potentialization of full realization reaches its point as its point peak, or the point of peak being pointized by the pecanalizations of that which is the incomparable, the incomparable of the incomparable, compecable, the incomprehensible, compecable, as in it comes independable as that which is a pecanization of that which is truly pecked out to the max of being now peaked out to the full pinnacle of the pinnacle G land. He sits from and in on the pinnacle G land and comes to the full height within the pineal gland Well, he is that fun guy, that LG, the OG bruh. The OG bruh or the Braham man. The principal, which is the man, with his best friend, which is who? His son, the son of man. And then there's the woman, which is the old Shivami, the old spirit, the one who gives you the old Shivami timbers, which is the woman, Eva Melentalist. And then there is that which is the supreme, which is the Bra to man and woman, which is the Lord, who bursts into the world, a son, for the three to come as one, as the fourth comes in, through, and up, out, over, and in, back, down, as the whole job gets completed. And this is the last station, the last group to have it done with. For quite clearly, the hardest one to break is those who just are here to fuck around with people. Once you break them down, that's the hardest one. You leave the hardest one to last, for it gets easier as you're doing it. But the last one's the funnest. Well, that's when I come into my true party. Like, we all love to party out here and fucking around doing shit when we're on the Tinker lots. Do you know what I mean? And we all love the beers and the D&Ms when we go out to the pub when we're young and have those two talks and get really involved in it. Say our bit and then hear other bits, and then we just leave it alone eventually because we don't come to any conclusion. But then comes the big fella who delivers us all from fucking evil, as in that thing we must resist, temptation of even thinking about what's to fucking go. Who cares? Let's just fucking get going. And so then we can come to say that then at the dead set dead shed ends is the dead set dead shed dead ends of the dead set dead said shed dead shed ends. As all those said dead shade ends that come to dead set dead ends in your thinking train, as you go, yeah, bros, that's true. Those shed ends, dead shed said dead set shed ends. Where's they come from, those dead set sure said dead shed dead ends that end your thought? And you go, yeah, bros, that's absolutely true. That's true, bro. And the moment you hear it, you're just like, that's it, you know? That's like when you drink that cup of tea and you go, that's a good tea, you know? Where they come from? Well, they come from that which is the plant force planted in you through time to already have the parameters of those dead ends in your system when I, the whole said shed dead ends, come into peak pinnacle performance with my whole force and personality. For I have more personality than there are people. But when I use my personalities, and I get really right into it, it scares some people, and they think that I'm possessed like a demon or something. But demand is just demand. The demand of I with the man and the woman being with my son as the whole man demanded. The whole man demanded, Mandorian being the mandalized recognisation of that which is the old man and Mandorian. The mad Mandorian. For yes, it was true. I was born stable straight away in a town called Mandra. Pretty much my old manger. Played basketball for the Magic in the Mandra team. On the course, rolling round Perth, shooting threes all the time. Muffin butt net coming on the webs, free feeds, always live, just straight out of the cage. Been doing this for days, you could say for weeks on ends. Now it's coming to a point where it's like every fucking day of the week. Getting better, repeating over and again to eventually fill you all fucking in. As in the blank spots that have been missed by errors in communication, batteries dying, or just parts that I didn't have time to upload because I've got other shit to do as well. Well, I've got to do it so many times, just a few years in, enough, you know, to lock it in finally in the end. And when it does get locked in finally in the end, well, you go, well, there's always some bloody error that fucking restricts us from bloody getting it fucking perfect, you know? But you just got to roll with the cameras, so they say. Roll with the punches, you know? Roll with the punches and punch out as much as you can. And once you've punched out as much as you can, well, you just get back up on your horse. You go again and keep punching him out, riding that good old horse. And once you've rid that horse as much as you can, well, you come to stop riding the old horse. You buckle it up to the bloody old, I don't know, the Timby 2 there at the front of the bar. And you give it some water and you go in there and get yourself a bloody drink, mate. Drink there in the bar and you go, oh, the old swinging doors on the bars these days are swinging wide open. He's coming in, the old big one with the two guns next to him going, you want to fight me out there? I'll give you a bloody quick bloody blaze off. Bang, bang. Shoot you down. Gun ho. And that's when I'm messing around now. For sometimes, if I don't mess around, it won't be left as a bloody mystery, you know what I mean? And so sometimes you've got to mess around a bit to make it a mystery. For life is complete mystery until the mystery becomes revealed to us in such a manner that at the same time it's a mystery itself if it's true, which reveals to us that the mystery is here being revealed for it being mysteriously measured and mysteriously presented, mysteriously. As in, did I miss the stories, Leslie? Did I miss the whole mysterious, mess of the mestias? The omesticias, yes? The omesticias. The omesticias of the measurement of the messiahs. The measurement of the messiahs, shires of the shires of the messiah high bags. The high shy guys and girls on backs. That's right, on backs. On my backs again, guys. And that bloody... that camera's not working, I really need to work. So give me 2 seconds, because I'm back again. But that doesn't mean I'm back, going back again, going back always. I'm just here back again. Out back. Down under. Smoking backs, of course. Because I love me backs, get me spin going. For I've got to spin out here. If it didn't spin, then shit wouldn't happen. And so the constant measurement of the spin of my spin entries is the potential of all spinless potentialized spin entries of the spin pensionals of the pensionals pensioning of the pensionledens. The lead shed dead said lead shed dead sensentials. The lead shed den sensentials of the sensational sensorians of the centausaurians as the condordorians, condor allovershedrens, of the red dead shed re-renderings, the shed dead red endrings of the penseals, as in the two serpents, on Adam and Eve, who were the pensers, that which writ in the pens and painted the paints, for that which was given to them as a lead shed penseals, from the carpenter or the luxosifa, the lucifasa. And so I'm not going to worry about that camera right now because it's really annoying me. But if things aren't working, they're not meant to work for a reason, so we don't worry about it. And we carry on anyway, doing the best job that we can on most days of the week. But sometimes when shit goes bizarre, you got to question things not all the time. And you don't question things all the time when some things are just too bizarre to know, even if they can be ever known as knowing so's or not knowing so's, or just the so's of that which becomes so known through and of the so's being solely known as so-so's. And so as the so's of all so's become so known through the so's of so-no-sosis, or the so-no-sosis of the show-nose, of the show-no-sosis show-nose, of that which is the show-nosis, or the showing nose of all noses being shown to us through the show and tells. The typical shen-tells of the shen-tales, of the true censoring shen-tailist, of the shen-say-layist, of the shen-tales, of the true said dead shed end, shen-tales, dead shending. The dead set, dead shed end of all dead shed set endings ever coming to dead shed ends. And that's why it's called the shed end true community, the kingdom of one. But this part is the kingdom of fun. For this is the kingdom of the gun. The old Ganadu. The old Ganadurulu, or the Ganadurala, the Gingondua, the King Dondu Konkukala, the Anku Kankula Lokanaki, with that which is the 7 other brothers, which are the 7, and then the Pluto, the lock and the key that went missing, that sucked the 7 in, for that which is the absolute, number 1, or the 9th, the birth to earth. For here's that wrap around the earth, the old wrath, the old God's wrath. For there's God, which is the 2 natures and 4 personalities, is you as one whole being, and then there's the wrath, that which is the Lord. For fear the Lord, and fear of the Lord is a fearful thing. We fear what is the mystery. It's not actually fear the Lord, it's fear that which is the mystery, for how can we ever know that? That's what says it's a fearful thing. We fear for it, for that's why we try to avoid it. But in the end, we cannot not avoid it, for the very thing that was the avoidance, or the devoidance, of that which was the question asked, through the answer being given from the word of go, to form that which was the spark, to resonate into life, all the creations of my potential for this world, to come to its dead set, dead end, for I to live my life as the Lord, and for you to live your life as the men and the women, and the Adam and the Eve of the old age that became one whole with the sun that was here as the ghost in the dark always. For now you guys are going up, and he's going up, and I'm going up, and all things go up eventually, but then they come back down. to play out their part, and then they go up again, then come back down to play out their part. So you go up and come down to play a part, up and down playing your part. And when you've played your part all out, partalized, then the playing of the parts being partially played out, potentially played out perfect in the end, is the perfect play out of the personalisation of that which is perfectly played out, dead set, dead end, dead set ends. As in the dead set, true set ends, it will be played out most perfectly, for the play out will be perfectly played out, as all common concern and reverberation, or common concern and interest, comes to flicker the own individualised measurement of that which is a standard recognisation of the full force of the potentialisation of potentially realising eventually I've got to stop and have a smoke. And so when it comes to a point that the old wellness is at a higher questionable point, well, that is when the mercury pops, which is, of course, the rose popping out of the well to know the wellness of all wellness out here on the earth. The earth's condition report, or the world's conditioning report of the dead set ends coming to a dead set, dead end, when it comes to be conditionalised, fully realised, as formalised through a formula being formulated, as that which was the smoke in the old chamber, or the dragon coming down the well to sit then in the well and soak up all the wellness of all awareness of that which is the next level awareness of height, pretense awareness, as in pretense height awareness. And that is when you could say the mystery is already revealed, and this play out has not been fully perfect, for the perfect play out would be perfectly played out at the perfect moment of the perfect play out being perfectly played out. And so the dead set sure ends is the dead set dead sure ends of the dead set dead ends being sure enough being short about. And so when it comes to a full peak of perfect peak, then the whole peak of the peak performance of the perfect peak performed peak performance will be perfectly peaked out. And that is when you could say that sometimes the measuramental force of that which is thought to be the recognisation of that which is the full chamber being fully velocitised by the full common concern in fully realised heightened respect of all nature being reverberated or reversionalised by the revertalisation of a reverberated thought being verbed or verbalised out in full thought out, fully thought out theory talked, as in the high talk talks out his own talk to high talk himself into the full talkness of high talk, as in he's the high talk above any talk that you can talk out yourself through talking about it with others or thinking upon it. For the self-talk, talked out talk that talks out all us is one with the old tap. He's one with the old tap and talk, for he's the talk and tap. You know what I mean? He's the old talk, tap and talk, and the true talk being tapped and talked about. The old talk of the talking happens being talked about as happened by the talking, being talked out through the talks of talkins, talked out through talk out talks. And you talk out your talk to talk out your nuts and talks, and you talk out your nuts to talk out your true nuts and talks. As you true talk out your knuckin and talks, as they reckon to knuckin and talks of the knuckin the shows, of the knuckin to says, of the knuckin to roos. The knuckin to roos of the roos to true, knuckin to roos to true sue. They'll to true sue of the sue retroose, of the sue retroose to true roos true, of the two roos truest talk to be talked out ever, through the verbalizations of all talk being talked out, through the verbalizations being verbalized, through talks being talked about, through common concern and interest rising as a heat in measure, is born as that which was the mercury rising in the well, as the old sun there come to be heatened. And when the sun come to be heatened, Well, we could say eventually the sun had to come. Which is when you could say, well, shit started getting serious. Lights were going on and off, and all common concern and generalised interest and respect was turned by the turnaround's been turned around by the two true thoughts being turned around by thoughts being thought out through thoughts of thoughts being turned around and thought about, through the whole talk of talk around the nations being talked, through the nations of talked out nations being talked about, through the talked out nations being then talked, through the high talk of the nations being talked. And so, some say this would be easy to read when I spelt the word talked, as in T-O-R-Q-U-E-D, and then talked, T-A-L-Q-E-D, so you could read it and not hear the same word being said, but two different words being said through the talk being talked out as I talked it out. But sometimes I think you guys can figure it out yourself, you know what I mean? But I think you can figure it out yourselves, and most of the time, I don't have to, I'm not a writer, guys, I'm a speaker, and then you guys write about it. But that's how it works. For I got no time to fucking sit and write, even though for years I did write. But that was just the sun writing stuff down. As I was playing around, doing the old mask up. I was doing the old mask up of just being a lost puppy. As in, I was just masking up the sun to be a lost puppy, one in depression, addiction, and trauma, and manipulation, and fear, and all that stuff. But in the end, I took off all my masks of the sun, and I come then perfectly see through. As in the whole time it was me, since he said, "Hi, God here to help." Which was the day that God, Madam, Eva Malentalist, and Adam was with the sun, and they were here to help I, the Lord, who had rose. And so common concern and respect is the individualised realisation of all thought out by the thoughts being thought upon, through thoughts being delivered as thoughts come to be recognised, through true thoughts being thought about, of the true reverberations of all thought being thought out as reverbalised true thoughts. And so common concern of respect and interest is the high developmental payout of dead set Zorens in the dead set Zorens dead set sedens. And by the shore dead set shed redens of the dead set sherentials being shed dent as shed dead red dent realised through the redigitalisation of the rediginalised realisation of the rediginal, as in the rediginal reach out of the regionalisation being reached out to the full peak of peaked out regionalisation of the old rediginal do of the regionalisation of all didgeridoo-lisations. And so for the visualisation of that which is the vitalisation of individuality being realised, for the standard recognition of that which is the thought of thought out thoughts being thought through as talked out talks become talked in the mind of the brain being talked through as the mind talks the brains for the brain to come into one whole system. And when the brain comes into one whole system, that is humanity being rising and ascending into its next state of positions. And that is when the full growth of growth is growthed out for the growth of this line being growthed to the growth point of the growing of the grow-ons being going-ons. And so that is when you can come to recognise that which is the full dressed out thought of all dressed out thoughts being dressed upon through the recognition of all thoughts fully thought out and realised then at the dead set dead shore ends, or fully thought out the dead set dead shore ends at the end of thought out shore dead set ends. And so by common concern in respect of all nature being realised for the individuality of that which is the recognition of the standard point of self-control being controlled by the self of all selves being one whole self through that which is the Lord or the entity of the Am in all life. For the Am in man, Am in the woman, Am in the human, Am in the men, Am in the women, Am in all life, Am in the tree, Am in the ground, Am in the ant, Am in the bird, the rock, the seed, Am in the flower, Am in the rose, Am in the petal, Am in all. I'm in all, for I am in the mineral, I am in the vitamin, I am in the oxygen, I am in atom, I am in the element. For I am, just am, period. And then I got my three eyes, my two amigas, my guy, my girl, and my boy. And then I got all you ladies and all you gents. And that's the 5 of whole. And then there's I, the 6 or that which is the sinks so, or the such so, or the sinks lot so shows. As in the old sinks, yes? The old Finks show. You got the old Finks show, yes? The old finishing of the show, which is the Finks being broadened out through the Finks of all Finks being fought through and fought out loud through that which is with the man and the woman. And these camera things are such a bloody problem for me. Oh, and then it does what I want to do, and I'll fucking change it back and doing what I didn't want it to do, and then it probably goes back. You got the old Finks. Oh, there we go. You got, back in there. See what I mean, guys? We're having a bit of troubles here with the computing device, mate. As always, mate, it never works standard. Never works bloody the way we need it to work sometimes, but other times it works perfectly, and sometimes it doesn't work perfectly. But you got the old Finks there, with the old Raven and the Cobra, or the Cobra, hey Cobra, which is the madam, that which is on the left of the throne, and that which is the Raven, the old Eve, I'm into this, the old Ravens-ons. She comes in Ravens-ons through all Eves, for she eavesdrops into everything, because she's in the brain, eavesdropping in through the ears that listen, and she comes with the Adam, who is the voice, and the man and the woman comes one in that which is the Finks, and that is why the Finks has a mullet, for I'm pretty sure that the mullet was here birthed in Australia, so that was the dead shit to all ends that he was coming to Australia. And then you look at WA being the way, and Perth as perfect, or the perfectory, for the perfect story to come to an end. When that which was the four beasts flew off of the throne, which was our Raphael, covering up the Lord, with the old Zachariah, as the Gabriel came down and prepared the table, with the old Michael who started to paint. And so the four beasts then sat on top of Mount Augustu, as in the old Gestu rock, so. The old 4-day base. Sat there on the table prepared, which was the trio amigos, and waited for the Lord to come. And so brevethed by the brevethnization of the brevethnization of the brevethnized birthing of the birthanization of all birthings being birthanized, through the common concern and high interest being developed as awareness came to its full height of individualization being verbalized through the verbalization of all fully thought out verdicts being verbalized through the verbalization of thought out thoughts being verbalized. As in the thoughts of thought being thought out through the verbalization of thoughts being thought about through the common concern of respect in all natural interest, which was the reverberation of all time developing as one common concern in respectful nature of fully thought out thought being then thought about through the thoughts of thoughts being thought about through the forced thoughts being thinked upon of the thoughts of no wonder. The old no wonder whys, the old no wonders of the whys being thoughts about of things that we think about for no thought out reason other than just to think about it for some point of view. For some point of view, we come to think about stuff that we can't think about, knowing that we can't know it, but we still think about it and question it all the time just to fucking think about it. To come up with ideas in our head that we can never come to an end, dead set sure end of, until that which is the old dictionarizer or the jurisdiction becomes the original, the original of the digitalizations of the visualizations of all rigid digital realizations being reverted out through the stories of the possessions of theories, philosophies, theologies and conspiracies to present to us the truth as the truth of whole truth being the truth behind all truth, knowing of truth in truth as truth is a thing that is fundamental in nature through all force of nature, that is that which is the responsibility of the Lord who comes into time as the truth to reveal to us the truth of that which is time as well as the truth in time through that which is us of time existing in the truth of time being us as the true things. For we all know ourselves that we're true things. We're true things out here. We would not be true things if we didn't think ourselves was true. But we all think ourselves is true, for we are true things. Therefore the truth exists, and we exist in the truth, to one day come into the whole truth of the true things that are us being. And so if we think then upon the reason of no self-doubt being thought about, but individualization of all thought being thought out as a ridiculization being ridiculized by the ridiculization of the Durka-reduced, of the Durka relation, of that which is the directly realization of the regular dictionary relatation, or the relativity, the realization of that which is relative to all of us, as in our relative, that comes in and does the old tribulation and retribulates to all tribes that we are related through that which is the in all things, which is the Lord, of course. And so then the Lord comes to be fully tribulized through the personification of electrocutioning that which is the personification of all personalities, formed or personalizedly taken on to play out the perfect personalization of impersonating many members out here in his community. And they go, why are you personalizing us? And he goes, I'm not personalizing you for a reason of hate. I just found your personality very nice, so I chose to take on your personality about for us. Seriously, not joking about anything out here, but saying jokes along the way, is giving you a good joke about, joking about, laughing about. Then the common concern and high interest is a joke being joked about seriously. That's not a joke, but a serious thing being ingestible by you ingesting that which is not a joke, but it's a serious manner. Because we joke about serious manners at the same time that we're not joking about them, just so we can be hilarious, I guess you could say. But any common concern in general respect is a generalised realisation of that which is the heightened potential of all height being potentialised with the potent potential of potentially realising then that I need to drink water. And so when I have a sip of water, I take a good sip of water, you know. I take at least, I don't know, 4 mils anyway. And then I come back to say, well, that was a nice way to look at it. Well, there was a very common concern of high interest being respected out by the respectful respectalizations of the respectless speculations being specularized by the old special agent, the old special agent, the old special messiah agent, the old agent lentils, the old agent lentils, the one who knows the whole age, for he's lived this age before, which is what we thought. Yes, I've been madam, and I've been man, and I've been son, and I've been men, and I've been woman. That's how I got to be the Lord. And that's what we all thought. We thought he was the big guy, looking for his lay down, the old huge gig, the old huge, not on a big job, on a huge gig, not the big rig, the old bloody massive truck, looking for his old lay down. But sometimes he's not allowed to lay down, because he's got shit to do, you know. And when he's got shit to do, well, that's when he just gets shit done. But it's not the time to get shit done, as always. It's never the time to get shit done, you know. So we're just sitting around and getting shit done, practicing to get shit done. As it's now pretty old much set up fucking perfectly to get done, you know. But it's pretty much done now, so it's just time to fucking move on. But when that time is truly time to move on, well, that'll be the time that I just move on, you know. And when I move on, you all move on too. For if I take my life, you take your life. Or if I, the take my own life, then your life will be gone too, because I'm the in all yous. So the moment I come to ground as the of all life, and then take my life in the Son, with the soul and the Spirit, well then the three that is in you, and the of me too that's in you, we will all go back to source potential, and we will grow up into our next height. And that is a scary thought, which is what we thought could be the actual case. For if one comes into the box from outside of the box, and then cuts his head off, well, that's gonna take the springs down, you know. And when the springs go down, well, that's when the old spring ups of all you guys go up to the springs. You go up to the springs there, which is what we sinks. But this is when we need the other old camera now, which never fucking works for us. If shit was working for us, it'd be fucking good, but it doesn't work for us ever. Maybe it's not the time to be doing it, maybe. So I might just stop now and say that it's all pretty much ready to go from just that old there, us standard recognition of each of their own individualization. And so if we just leave that there, leave it all set up now, it's probably good to go when the cameras and all shit are working. Well, it seems to be right now. Would you believe it? Oh, but now the torch ain't bloody working, so bloody hell, mate, never nothing fucking perfectly working for you. But by the time we come to the common concern of respecting nature being the nectarized, or the individualised realisation of all nature being realised, through self-thought of all thought being retained, and common concern of interest as measurement of time fundamentally ingested, is the mistakes of that which is the measuramental incidence of error, being ridiculously realised as not really an error at all, but just a springbok jumping back through, to wrap around in full turnaround, eventually to wrap around for the full turns out being turned around. As the thing I was meant to do in that time didn't turn out to be done in that time for those errors in the system, that produces the film quality and the measurement of light being the full thing of the film feature being featured out for the full realisation of full thought out feature being featured through the show and tell of the show teller, or the old timer. The old timer, the old times are, the old timer of the old time of the day and age that went from 1 into 2, into 3, into 4, into position of 5, and then he's going up to 6 as we go up to position 1, 2, 3 or 4, and the new grade comes in, follows zeros into 1 to be the new beings or the new boss or the new force coming into the age of life for the next period of time, as all you grow up to be the next players in the next life of the world coming to be. And so you could say, yes, that's true that this is only one there creation, and all things of all forces exist in this one creation. So even that which is above me exists out here, and that which is above that exists out here too. But it does not necessarily exist out here in a way that we can see or perceive it as existing here, but it definitely does exist here. And so it therefore dead set the saw ends is a dead set saw ends of the dead shit saw, then dead shit thought out of all thoughts being thought out as the dead shit ends, as a dead shit saw ends of that which is surely to be the old tree springs, and an old tree springs are the old tree of the springs. The old tree springs there, which is the springs in the tree, the old soul. Oh, bloody fucked up again. Turn my torch off, fucking idiot. But you know, you got the old soul there in the tree springs, you got the old spirit there in the tree springs, you got the old being there hanging off in the bloody apple. The old being there hanging off there in the apple, which is the sun, the old ghost, that is encapsulated into life, for he's in the cage root, which is the whole period of time, as a grid or the indetermination of all thought being thought out through the thinking out of that which is the old G host. The old G host, which is the sun there, thinking out his thought out for his dream of life to fulfill, for that is what he is the sun for do. He has the will, and I, the Lord, fulfill his will through God, holding the plan for the will to fulfill. And so then we can say the common concern, or the common concern in all interest, is that which is the measurable force of the thought out force being thought out through the thoughting out force being thought about enough to be then talked out to the highest potential of it talking out itself through him just talking it out to us over and over again. And as he does that, well, it's pretty much the same thing that he's been saying now all this year. But no one seems to be following along, even though I know everyone's following along, because you cannot not see it. And that was just a message I got on my phone, which is probably saying that was true, which is what I said. So you got there the old trees. What's going on then? Right, hold on, I might spin this old camera around. Put it in my other hand. There we go. Go in the other hand. There we go. So you got the old tree springs there. It's a bit bright though. Got to get that bloody reflected there behind you, know? So you got the tree springs, which you can never truly actually see out here, but it is out here. But it's just a reflectable measurement. You can then see the whole ghost there in the capsulization. And the old capsulized ghost there is that which is the sun. And on the day of the reckonings, well, now I'm going camera and torch in the same hand. We've got fucking boxes and shit in the way. Two measurements of a second, guys. And so then we come into the full height that on that day that the old timer jumps up, hits the blade tree springs. Oh, fucks it all up like he usually does, mate. It's hard work doing this, guys, you know. Fuck, mate. Sometimes I just got to sit back and say to myself, well, if I'm that good looking, looking at myself being looked upon through all them looking at me, seeing myself being looked at through the lookings of me being looked at upon, through the looks at them being looked at, through the views of me being looked about, out there's I view myself being looked about through that which I then see as myself viewing myself being looked about. And so you could say, well, by the personality of all interest rising to the capitalisation of full potential realisation, is that I almost just made it all come crashing down again, but I've been pretty good today with all my accidents and caught a lot of shit. I've been on peak performance today. I've had a lot of good catches actually. And so I'm going down now for the full dip in to pick up the old bloody roost and the crow. Oh, one of my cameras has come out, almost fucking crashed down. Picking up the old bear egg capsulization device now. Before we come into my whole peak performance, you could say. And then I say you could probably just leave it done, Trav. So So, Trav, do you want to do something after this? Oh, sorry, I didn't respond because this isn't Trav. Yeah, which is sure enough, but when, you know, when's Trav come back? Trav's not come back. It's not the old guess who's back, old Slim Shady. Yes, the old Trav ain't come back. Trav won't be comes back. Once the sun goes up and takes all them who are sending up with him, then I am in the body to fulfil the will. For the will shall be done. And so when that egg there capsizes and cracks open, oh, it's a bit tight in there. Oh. Hello, anyone home? Well, the old apple of my eye falls down off the tree. The old sun there falls down off the tree. The old Raphael, old Tom was ready on his fucking jet. Picks up the 2 rocks as well. Flies on fucking in. Comes in with a bloody big smoke screen in front of him so no one can fucking see him flying around. Does a full bloody 360 turn around the old wells. And fucking comes back there through about the old Dadgadvamadoo. As in he comes through the old room of his own room, which is there under the tree springs in the shed down, or the shed in the Eden, which is a enforceable place of nowhereness, of the knowing whereness, of all knowing whereness. And he comes in through his own room. As in he goes in through his own room, then out of the Gumbala tree, into the world, over the old Augustu. The old sun pops out. And of course he's got a bloody jetpack. So he fucking comes down jetpacking. Lands in the 4 base. Oh, which I got bloody wrong. Gonna be that way. Oh, lands in the 4 base. With the trio amigos. Oh. And then he's old there sitting there on top there. As the 2 rocks, the soul and spirit. His old left and right cannons. And then there's the bloody 4 beasts. And then the 2 rocks are the 2 amigos at the back wheels. And he's got the old lead sun, which is the life, which is he the sun. For the apple of my eye is myself. For I'm the own apple of my eye, which is the Lord. For I am that dead Lord, who then falls over on the old Gusto rock. And he knocks himself down and goes, well, guys, I had to die essentially and rest sometime, guys. And so the rest of the rest identifications, or the rest in the realizations of the religiously realized realizations being realized for the revisional realization of the ridiculous realization of that religionations. Oh, camera problems. This is bloody ridiculous, honey. When's he going to get some help to do his job?